Hi, Miss Sue. Thank you for letting me interview you today. My first question is, when were you born?
July 6, 1938.
All right. When you started school, was it segregated?
Yes.
Did it affect you anyway?
Well, at the time, it really didn't bother me because I was raised in a small town, and the black people had their own school, and we had our school. So it, it, I mean, it was just, that was just the way it was, and it didn't bother us. It would bother me now, but then it didn't.
All right. What did you do on your free time
Uh,
in like
at
the
school.
fifties? In the 50s, when you were much
Oh,
older?
oh, when I was older.
Yeah, in your teens.
Oh, we had fun. It was really a fun time. It was the time for rock and roll and Elvis, and Elvis was my man. I really liked him, and I had his first big record, Blue Moon. I don't know if you all have ever heard that or not, but
Nope.
it was his very first record that he had out. And my sister-in-law gave it to me.
All right.
And
What town did you live in?
Centerville, Tennessee.
Centerville, Tennessee. Okay.
Hmm.
Being that the town was segregated, did like on your leisure time or your free time, was it different if you guys went out places?
Um, we'd go to the movies, go to church on Sundays and Wednesday nights, and my dad was a preacher, Church of Christ preacher. So we we always had a lot of people over at our house to eat dinner, and when we went to the movies, it was really cheap then. It was like a quarter. Sometimes it was a dime just to go to a movie.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, and the popcorn was like a nickel. Cokes were a nickel. It was just really cheap back then. I could take $1 and just spend the whole afternoon at the movies.
I wish we could do that now.
I know.
Did you go to like drive-in movies?
Yes.
Went to drive-in movies.
Uh-huh.
Did you remember any protests that happened?
Uh, the only protest I remember, well, after I graduated, I remember the protest in Nashville. I lived in Nashville, and I remember at the Woolworth, we called it 5 and 10 cent store back then. Um, they had some protests, and which, I mean, I couldn't blame the people, for protesting, because they didn't have their freedom like they should have. And it was really, of course, I wasn't down there at the time, but, I saw it on TV. And they treated them pretty bad. It was really sad.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be born in that era, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
how about the attires that you guys wore? Bell bottoms, or do you remember
We
anything?
wore long skirts and, what'd you call those shoes? Saddle loafers. We call them
Saddle
saddle
loafers.
loafers. And I had a white pair and a brown pair, and they had a place for a penny, in the top of them.
On
You
the
ever
shoe?
seen it? Yeah. And
I never.
I kept a penny in there for luck. And we'd wear different kind of blouses. A lot of my blouses were thin, and then but you couldn't see through them, but they were real pretty.
Okay.
My sister kept me in clothes because she worked in Nashville when I was still in school, so she kept me in clothes.
Well, love to be spoiled, huh?
Mm-hmm.
My final thought will be, what advice will you give the younger generation?
Now,
Yes, ma'am.
just to be yourself and to get your education, go to college, and just be good, you know, try to live right according to God's plan, and just enjoy yourselves.
All right. Thank you, Miss Sue.
Okay.
All righty.
Thank you.
So, no problem. After 15 takes, I mean.